heart. Miklal, so this proves the bechamra askinon, that we're talking about the asparagus made out of wine. As we'll see soon in the Gemara, there's an asparagus made out of beer and an asparagus made out of wine. The one that's made out of wine is good for the heart. So since it said it's good for the heart, so we're talking about the asparagus that's made out of wine. Miklal the bechamra askinon, we're talking about wine. Katani, and what does it say here? V'kol shkel of neimayan. That it's definitely good for the intestines. That this asparagus is good for the intestines. Fragt the Gemara, v'atanya, but we learned in a different brayse, lelat yofe, leramat kosher. What is the lashatevis of lat? Lat is leiv, the heart. Ayin is the ayin, the eyes. And tes is toil, which is the spleen. So the brayse says that this drink is good for these things, for the heart, for the eyes, for the spleen. But l'ramat kosher, for the roish, for the head, for the mayim, for the intestines, and tachtenius, for hemorrhoids, it's not good. So we see clearly here that it's not good for the intestines, kosher. And for the Gemara, kitanyahi, when does it say that? Braise there, that it's not good for the intestines, the miyushon. Going back again, kitanyahi, when did it say that the wine is good for the intestines? If it's old wine, as we learned in the Mishnah. So there's a difference if this asparagus drink is made out of old wine or new wine. If it's made out of fresh wine, so then it's not good for the intestines. If it's made out of old wine, it is. As we learned in the Mishnah, a person makes a neder on wine that I will not taste any wine. And he explains, I don't want to drink wine because wine is not good for the intestines. Amrullah, someone commented to him as he made this neder, but old wine is good for the intestines. Yafahu. It's good for the intestines. Vishasak, and the person making the neder was quiet. What's the din? Aser b'chadash, he may not drink new wine, because that's part of his neder, but a mutter b'miyushan. He may drink old wine because that's not part of his neder. So when it comes to a neder, we always have to follow what the person meant with what he said, even though sometimes it's not clearly spelled out. So over here it's clear that what he meant is only to aser upon himself the new wine that's not good for the intestines. Shema mino, so we clearly see that there's a difference between new and old wine as far as what it does to your stomach. The Rambam brings this lahalacha, by the way, in Hilchos Nedarim as well, that there's a difference between new and old wine if it's good for the stomach or not. The Rabbanon learned now regarding this drink of asparagus. How should you drink this? Shisha dvarim nemru be'asparagus. There are 6 things that were said about this asparagus. You only drink when it's chai, when it's original, the wine. It's not diluted, it has to be in its original form. Mole, full cup of it. Mekabloi biyamin, you receive it from the one that serves you in your right hand, but v'sheiseyu b'smoil, drink it with your left hand. I'm not sure what the reason is. I looked in Mefarshim, I didn't see anything yet, but possibly, I'm just thinking as I'm reading it, the reason is because when you drink it with your left hand, you maybe will drink it a little bit slower than if you drink it with your right hand, so you'll drink it in the right pace. V'ei masichen achrov, and after you finish drinking this drink, do not speak afterwards. Ve'em afsikim boy, and you don't make an interruption while you drink it. You drink it all in one gulp. Ve'em machzirin oisai, elo lemi shenosnei. Now you don't give back the cup only to the person that gave it to you. The one that gave it to you, give him back the cup. Now don't give it to anyone else. Ve'rok achrov, then any saliva that's left in your mouth afterwards, you have to spit afterwards. Ve'ein seimchen oisai, elo biyaminoi. And if you have to have something to eat along with it, because it's too sharp, don't join something else along with it, only something that's part of the ingredients of this asparagus. If it's made out of wine, so eat grapes with it. If it's made out of beer, which may be made out of dates or something else, so eat dates along with it. Frag the Gemara Vatanya, we learned in a different brayse, that what you eat along with it should be bread. And here bread is not the oisay mina, it's not the same min, so what's the story? Like kashya, it's not a question. Ha b'dechamre, ha b'deshichra. It's a difference if it's wine or if it's beer. If it's wine, so then you can eat bread with it. But if it's beer, you only eat along with it something that's a min that it's made out of. Tani Chod, now the Gemara goes back to what we already quoted before. We learned in one bracha, Lelat Yofe. For the heart, eyes, and spleen, this drink is good. L'ramat kosher. But for the head and the intestines and hemorrhoids, it's not good. The Tanya Yidach, and another bracha it said the opposite. L'ramat Yofe, Lelat kosher. So it's two opposites. Like Kashi, this is not a question. Ha b'de chamre, ha b'de shichra. One bracha is talking about the beer, and the other one is talking about the wine. Tani Chod, we learned in one bracha, Rok Achrov. Any saliva left in your mouth afterwards, you should spit out. The Tanya Yidach, in a different bracha, it says, Loi Rok Achrov, that you should not spit out the saliva. Sorry, this is how you read it. The Tanya Yidach, in another bracha, it says, Loi Rok, let me read it again. Tani Chod, Rok Achrov, Loike. If you spit following drinking this asparagus, you'll suffer from this. It's not good. You'll become ill from this. The Tanya Yidach in another brayse it said, Loirak acharav, if you don't spit out the saliva, then then you're going to get sick. So you must spit out the saliva. So do you have to or not? And for the Gemara, Kashya, it's not a question. Ha b'de chamre, ha b'de shichra. When it comes to wine, don't spit it out, and when it comes to beer, you should spit out the saliva. Ravashi, so Ravashi said, Hashtra da amris loirak achrav loike. Now that you said that if you didn't spit, so he'll become ill, it's dangerous. So, meimov nizrakin afilu b'fnei hamelech. Any of the saliva you have in your mouth after eating, drinking this asparagus, even if you're in front of a king, you're allowed to spit it out because you could be in a danger if you're not going to do that. Okay. The Gemara says weiter regarding this drink of asparagus. Amar Rabbi Shmuel ben Elisha shloisha dvarim. Three things. Sochli, Suriel, Saraponim. Suriel, which is a malach, and he's the Saraponim, said to me the following three things. Al titoil chalukcha shachris biyad hashamish v'tilbash. Do not take your clothing from somebody that is serving you, from a butler that's giving you your clothing, and get dressed that way. You have to get your clothing on your own in the morning. Val titol yotcha, do not wash negelvas in the morning, or until in the morning. Mimishale notal yodov. Someone that did not wash his hands yet, he should not wash your hands. Val tachze kais asparagus, and when you finish drinking this cup of drink, asparagus, do not return it elo lemish nosnei loch. Only to the one that gave it to you. That's who you should return it to. Mipnei shetachsefis, because tachsefis, which is from the shadim, v'amirila stalgonis, which is shel malache chabala, which is from the malachim that come and harm a person. Mitzapin leila adam, are waiting for a person. V'aimrim, and they say, emes hayave adam lidei echad midvarim alalu. When will a person come to one of these three things that we just mentioned? V'yilkad, and he'll get ensnared. He won't do it properly, and then they have the ability to harm the person. Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi said, Shloish advarim sachli malach hamaves. Three things the malach hamaves told me. The first thing is, like we said before, al titel chalukcha shachris. Do not take your clothing in the morning. Yada shamish from a butler. V'tilbash, and get dressed. You have to get your clothing on your own. V'al titel yotcha mimi shalei notla yodav. And don't allow somebody that did not wash his hands yet from the til sedayim in the morning to wash your hands. The third thing he said is, don't stand in front of the women when they come back from a lavaya. Why not? Because I, and it's referring here to the Malach HaMaves, merakid uba lefneim, he's dancing and walking ahead of them, v'charbi biyadi, and the sword, my sword of the Malach HaMaves, is in his hands. V'yashli l'reshus l'chabel, and I have permission to harm anybody that's there in that place. So therefore, a person should not stand in front of the women that are coming back from Levaya. V'i poga, and if he meets them, maita kante. So what should he do if the women are coming back from Levaya and he's there? So the Gemara gives a few options. Linshev miduchte arbamis. One option is let him jump out of his position 4 amas, jump away so the Yitzhahara, the Malach HaMavis, doesn't catch him. If there's a river there, levre, let him cross over the river and go to the other side. There's another way that he can go, not to be there where the women are coming out, let him go in a different way. V'yike gude, if there's a wall, leiki achayra, let him stand behind the wall, let him go behind the wall. But v'loi, if he doesn't have any of these options, leheder ape, let him turn away his face, v'leima, and say, v'yemer Hashem el hasoten, yigar Hashem b'chava goymer, the Eibusher should scream at you, to shout at the Satan, ad chol fimination. Say this pasuk and turn his head away until these women will walk away from him. There are kehillas where the women are not mishtatif by a levaya, b'frat not by the Beis HaKvaris. Letters from the Rebbe about it. There's an Indian, whatever. It's based on this Gemara.
Yes, we just make sure they're separate.
Right, make sure they're separate. And I think there's a letter from the Rebbe, or the Rebbe said that if you would have the koyach, he would institute that the women shouldn't go. But B'Payel, the Rebbe, I think Rabbi Ushbal asked the Rebbe, should he fear that the women shouldn't go? And the Rebbe said, no, B'Payel Megate, the Rebbe didn't want to change what the minhag was.
It doesn't affect the women? It seems like it doesn't affect the women.
It doesn't say that here. It says the ones that stand in front of the women.
Right.
Amar Rab Zeira, Amar Rab Avo, V'Amar Yila, B'Masnita Tonem, Asara Dvarim Nemru B'Koyes Shel Bracha. There are 10 things that was said regarding what's required regarding a Koyes Shel Bracha when you're using a cup of wine for a bracha, whether for benching, for kiddush, for avdalah. There are 10 things. Ta'an adoche has to be washed. Shtifa has to be rinsed. Chai. The meaning of chai, there's a few pshatim what chai means. Either chai means that the wine inside has to be undiluted. You have to fill the kais with undiluted wine, even though then they did dilute the wine, but you should only add the water after you fill the kais itself with the pure wine. That's a covet for the kiddush, and that you fill the kais with the pure wine, and then you dilute it later. That's one pshat. Another pshat Rashi says is that the wine should be fresh wine. Yeah, Rashi says frisch belaz. So you bring it directly from the barrel, not from wine that was sitting out. And the third pshat that Tosfos says, and not here, but in Psachim, Tosfos says that chai means that the kais itself should be whole, not a broken kais. Umale should be a full kais. Itur should be crowned. The Gemara will soon explain what that means. Ituv, you have to wrap yourself. Noitloi b'shtei yadav, you take it, you lift up the kais with both of your hands. The nice night be min, and then you place the kais into your right hand when you make kiddush. Umakbiyai min akarka, you have to lift it off the ground. Tefach, one tefach. Amalek Zeiten, they would sit on the floor and eat, so that you lift it off the ground. The tefach. The nice and einav bay, and you have to place your eyes upon the kais. Pay attention to the wine when you're making kiddush or when you're whatever and you're benching. V'yesh oimrem, and others say af mishagroi b'matone la'anshe beisai. After you drink from it, you also send the leftover wines as a gift to the people of the house, to your wife, to drink from it. Rabbi Yechanan said, "Anu ein lanu ela arba bulvad." We only follow 4 of the things that it mentions here, which are hadache, shtife, chai, umale. To wash, to rinse, and then chai, as I mentioned before, the various pshatim, and male, that it should be full. So now the Gemara goes back to the Braisa, and it will explain all the things that it mentioned over here in the Braisa with the kais. Tana, hadache mibifnim, when it said to wash the kais, you wash it on the inside, ushtife mibachutz, and you rinse it from the outside. Rabbi Yechanan said, Kalam avarach al kais malei, whoever benches on a full cup of wine, or makes any bracha of kiddush on a full cup of wine, and they should give them an inheritance without any boundaries. Shenamar umale birchas Hashem yam v'darim yerosha. So the umale birchas Hashem, the Gemara dashens that when you make a bracha and it's on a full kais, then you will inherit from the north and from the south and from the west, that is, and from the south. You will inherit. You will merit to inherit 2 worlds, this world and the world to come. Now the Gemara goes back to the Braise. Itur, crown. What does it mean to crown the kais? Rav Yehuda matrei b'talmidim. Rav Yehuda would crown the kais that all the talmidim, all the people that are present when he's making the kiddush or when he's benching, should come and be around, and they're crowning the kais, they're giving covet to the kais that they're benching on. Or Rav Chisda had a different meaning. Ma'atalei benatli. He would give covet to the kais that he would fill other cups of wine as well. that after he'll make the kiddush, others will drink from the other cups of wine. So he wouldn't only fill one cup that he made the kiddush on, but he would also fill other cups of wine. Rav Chanan said, you fill it with the pure wine before it's diluted. By benching the place where you have to fill it, that it should be this, they should be the pure wine that it should be filled, is by the bracha of Birchas Haaretz. The reason is because by Birchas Haaretz we're thanking the Eibishter for providing us the land which produces these grapes that give this wine. Itov, what does Itov mean? Rav Papa ma'atev Yosef. Rav Papa would wrap himself and then he would bench. Okay, he would put on a wrapping on top of himself to bench. Rav Asi paras sudar al reisha. He would put a sudar, a handkerchief over his head, and then he would bench. So this is the source for that. For benching, you have to have a hat and a jacket when you bench. We said that you lift up the kais with two hands. What's the source for this? So it says, lift it up with your hands, plural term, lift up the kais with both of your hands and bench the Eibishter. And then, but when you bench, you hold the kais in your right hand. The earlier Tanaim asked the question, could you use your left hand to assist your right hand? You're holding the kais in your right hand. If you're holding it for the whole benching, or as Taisa says over here, it's talking about if you're holding a large kais and it's in a time when it's a long benching and you have to hold it for a while and it's too hard for you to hold it. So could you put your left hand below your right hand and support your hand to hold it? Since this question was asked by the earlier generations and they did not answer this question, so Anan Navid L'chumra, the next page. So we will be stringent about this, and we will not have shouldn't have the left hand supporting the right hand. We learned that you lift it off the ground, one tefach. What's the source to lift it off the ground? That you lift the kais off the ground or off the table, a tefach. And then then you bench, you call out the Davish's name. The next thing is said in the Braisa, you have to place your eyes on the becher. So what's the reason? So you shouldn't forget, you shouldn't lose focus that he's holding a becher of wine in his hands and he's making the bracha on this. Then it said, he sends the becher, the leftovers of the wine, he sends it to the people of the house, as a gift that they should drink from this wine. What's the reason? So that his wife should be benched by drinking from this wine. When you drink from the leftovers of the wine, so you get a bracha from the kais shel bracha. So there's an inyan to drink from kais shel bracha.
Even of benching.
Yeah. Ula ikla lebei Rav Nachman. Ula had a meal at the house of Rav Nachman. Karech rifte, so he ate the bread, and then Baruch Birchas Mezayne, he was honored to bench with a kais on the benching. Yavle kasa the Birchas Rav Nachman. So after he finished drinking from it, he gave the leftovers to Rav Nachman. Rav Nachman should drink from it. Amalei Rav Nachman. So Rav Nachman said, "L'shader mar kasa the Birchas leYalta." You should send this the wine to my wife to Yalta, that she should also drink from it. Yeah. So what happened? Amar lei Ula said to Rav Nachman, Hachi Amar Rab Yechanan. This is what Rab Yechanan said. Ein pri bitna shel isha mizbarech. The fruits that the birth that a woman gives birth is not blessed. El me pri bitna shel ish. The source of the bracha comes from what's in the stomach of the man. Shenamar, as you see in the pasuk, uveirach pri bitna cha. That the Eibusher benches the fruits of your stomach, and using a male term referring to the man. Pri bitna loinema. It doesn't say that the Eibusher benches her stomach. El pri bitna cha, the man. And Gemara brings another brayse to back this up as well. Tanya nami hachi. We'll learn the same in a brayse. Rab Nasa noimer minayin she'ein pri bitna shel isha mizbarech ela mi pri bitna shel ish. From where do I see that whatever the children, the birth from a woman comes from the man? Shenema overach pri bitna cha. The Eibishter benches the fruits of your stomach. Pri bit necha. Sorry, pri bit noh loy nemar. It doesn't use the female term regarding the woman. Ela pri bit necha, the male term regarding the man. So what was Ola telling Rav Nachman? There's no need to send the leftovers of the kais shel bracha to the woman that she should drink from it for the bracha, because if you drank from it, you got the bracha, and she doesn't need to have a bracha separately from this. Adachi, in between, meanwhile, Shama Yalta, she heard what happened over here, that they're not sending her the kais shel bracha. Kama bezira, she got up in anger. Also levei chamra, and she went into the storage where all the wine was. V'tavra dalid meya dani de chamra, and she broke 400 barrels of wine. Wow. Amala Rav Nachman. So now Rav Nachman saw what happened, that she really, really wanted to have this wine. So Rav Nachman said, Nishade lomar kosa achrina. So let's send her from another case of wine. Shalach, and he sent to her with the following message: Kol hai navge de brichasehi. The entire barrel or the entire kais is blessed, right? So therefore, you can get from another kais as well. Shalchalei, she sent back to him to Ula and said, Mimaduri mili, from the words from these peddlers that are saying words that are stam shtusim, or mismartuti klami, and old rats, shmatis, that are worn out. Your words are stam worn out words. It is pointless what you're saying. You didn't send me the kais shel bracha. She wanted to have the kais shel bracha. Amar Ravasi, the Gemara says another halacha. Ravasi said, Ein mesichin al kais shel bracha. Once you picked up the kais to bench, you don't talk, you have to bench right away. When you picked up the kais, you don't speak. Amar Ravasi, Ein mevarchen al kais shel peronius. You don't bench on a kais that's peronius. That's punishment. What's kais? My kais shel peronius. What is this kais of punishment? Amar Rav Nachman beYivtok kais sheni. The second kais. The second kais you don't bench on it. And Rashi brings over here. There's the whole sugya in Psachim about zugais. That when you have peers and you do the second, there's an Indian of zugais where the shadim can come and harm you. So therefore, if you made kiddush on the first kais and then during the meal you eat a second kais, drink a second kais, so then when you come to bench, you're benching on a third kais. But if you didn't drink any wine during the meal and then you're benching on the second kais, you don't bench on the second kais because of zugais, which can bring peronius, punishment to a person. Amar Rav Nachman. We just read that. Kais sheni. Tanya namahachi ashoyse keflayim. You're drinking in doubles. You drink a second kais. Lo yevarich. You shouldn't bench on that. Mishum shenemar hikain lekras lekach Yisrael. Prepare the kais for the Eibishter to bench on it. V'hai lo misaken. This is not prepared to bench on it. This is a kais that could bring judgment and punishment. Amar abavav amar elabe masnita tanem ha'oichel. Someone that's eating umahalach and he's walking on a way while he's eating. Mavarich Mu'omid. When he benches, he should stop and stand in one place and bench standing. If when you're eating, you're standing in one place and eating, Mavarich Miyushiv. You should bench sitting down. If when you're eating, you're reclining, V'oichel Yeshiv Mavarich. Then you should sit up with this proper respect and bench in that way. The halacha is bekulhu yeshiv mevarich. Regarding what position the person was in while he was eating or drinking, when it comes to benching, you're supposed to sit down in one place and bench birches hamazon. And this is the final halacha. Hadron halach shloisha shachlo. Sagt the Mishnah. Eilu dvarim sheben beishamai uben beisilol. So the Mishnah here is going to bring a bunch of different arguments between beishamai and beisilol that are connected to a suda. These were the things that Beishamai and Beisil argued about Besuda, regarding a Suda. Beishamai said, this is regarding Kiddush on Shabbos. Which bracha do you make first? The bracha on the wine, by the Priyagofen, or the bracha Shekechanu, b'mitzvaysa, the bracha of Shabbos, on the day of Shabbos. So Beishamai says, Mevarach ala yayim. First you make the bracha on the day, on the Shabbos or on the Yom Tiv. V'achakach mevarach ala yayim. Afterwards you make the Beit Priyagofen on the wine. Beisil say mevarach ala yayin. First you make the bracha on the wine, v'achkach mevarach ala yayin. Afterwards you make the bracha on the day, like we do. Beishamai say when it comes to wash, noitlim liyadayim. First you wash your hands for a maitzi, and then you pour the kais and you make kiddush, and you don't have, and then you could go and eat right away on maitzi, and it's not a half stick. You don't have to wash again. Beisil will say first you pour the cup of wine and you make kiddush, and you drink the wine, and then you wash for a maitzi. Beishamai say mekaneach yadav b'mapa. Before the Suda, if you're wiping your hands from after you washed, so you wipe off your hands in the towel, and you place that towel on the table, so if your hands ever get dirty during the meal, you have the towel there available to wipe your hands. Beisil will say you don't put the towel on the table. Ala keses, you put the towel on a pillow, not on the table. Another argument, Beishamai say, when it comes at the conclusion of the meal, first you sweep the floor. This is then when they were eating on the floor, you sweep the floor, or today you clean off the table first. And after you finish cleaning off the table, then you wash your hands from mayim achreinim. Beisil will say, first you wash your hands, you wash your hands from mayim achreinim, and then you wash your hands for the mayim achreinim. The Gemara is going to explain all these things, by the way. All these arguments, the Gemara will explain everything. Another argument, Beishamai say, what happens if it's Matzah Shabbos, and a person has to make the following few brachos over here. What's the order of the brachos that you say on the kais? Ner, Mazain, Besamim, and Avdallah. The order is, if he has to bench, if he has to bench, that is, on the kais. First you make the bracha on the ner, on the candle, then on the food that you ate, and then on the besamim, and then the last comes the bracha of Avdallah. That's the order. Beisil will say the order is different. Neiru besamim, the bracha on the candle and on the besamim goes together, and after that, mazan v'Avdallah, the bracha on the food that you're eating, and the bracha on Avdallah. Another argument, what's the nusach of the bracha that you make on Bari Mari'esh? Beishamai say, the bracha that you make is Shabara Ma'hira Eish. You say Ma'hira Eish, the light of the fire. Beisil will say Bari Ma'irei Ha'eish. You use a plural term, that they created the lights of the fire. The Gemara will explain. Another Indian, the Gemara says, Mishnah says, you don't make a bracha, not on a candle, and not on besamim from a goy. And not on a candle, or besamim from mason, that was used for dead people. Again, the Gemara is going to explain all this. And not if it comes from Avodah Zarah. And you don't make the bracha on the candle, until you benefit from its light. Another argument between Beishamai and Beisil. A person that ate and he forgot he didn't bench afterwards. Beishamai say he has to go back to his original place where he ate, and there you bench. Beisil say he can bench wherever he is, and he reminded himself he can bench right there. If a person forgot to bench and he has to bench, until when could you bench? Until how long it takes for the food to digest in your stomach. What happens if wine is brought to the table after the meal? This is before benching, but after the meal. If you only have that cup of wine, Beishamai say, first you make the bracha on the wine, and then you bench, and then you drink the wine. Beisil say, first you bench, and then after benching you make a bracha on the wine. That's the seder. First benching and then the bracha of the wine. You answer amen to a bracha if the yid makes a bracha. But when a kuti makes a bracha, as we learned before, kuti are those that were Megayer and wasn't sure if they're real Gadim or not. They didn't do all the takanas of the Rabbanon. When a kuti makes a bracha, you have to hear the entire bracha to make sure that he actually said the bracha properly to say amen. When a yid makes a bracha, you don't have to hear the entire bracha to say amen. The Gemara begins with the first thing that we discussed there. Tana Rabbanon. What was the first argument between Beishamai and Beisil? What's the order of Kiddush and Shabbos? What bracha do you make first? So the Rabbanan said in the Braisa, Dvarim shemim beishamai u'beis Hillel. So from the things that they argue about a Suda, beishamai yoyim mevarach ala ayoyim v'achkach mevarach ala yayin. The first thing we mentioned in our Mishnah also was first that you make a bracha on the day and then on wine. And what's the reason? Shahayoyim gairim leyayin sheyavai. The only reason you have wine here, why are you making Kiddush? Because it's Shabbos. That's the whole cause of why you're making the Kiddush. So that bracha comes first. Another reason Beis Shammai said, Ukvar Kiddush Hayom. Shabbos has already arrived, so you have to, the first opportunity, sanctify the day, mention the Kiddush of Shabbos. V'adayin yayin leiba. The Kiddush of Shabbos comes even before you have the wine. So the Kiddush of Shabbos comes first. Hillel Leimer and Beis Hillel say, Mevarach ala yayin v'achkach mevarach ala yoim. No, you make the bracha on wine, and afterwards you make the bracha on the day. Why? Shayayin gairim lekidusha shetoimar. The wine is the reason why we make this kiddush. Because if you have no wine, you don't make any kiddush. Okay? So the wine is the cause of the kiddush. So therefore, the first thing that enables you to make the kiddush is the wine. So you have to make the bracha on the wine first. Another reason why you have to make the bracha on the wine first. Birchas hayayin tedira. The bracha on wine is more constant. That's something you drink more often and during the week as well. But a birchas hayayin ena tedira. The bracha of Shabbos is only once a week on Shabbos or on Yom Tov. We have the rule. You have something which is constant, something which is not constant. You always make the bracha on something which is constant first. The halacha kedivrei Beis Hillel. Now we paskin like Beis Hillel. My davar acher. So the Gemara asks, why does it bring a second pshat about Tadir to explain why we make the bracha on the wine first? Because you'll argue and say, Hossam Tarti. Beis Shammai gave two reasons to make the Kiddush on the day first. First of all, the day is the cause of the whole Kiddush, and second of all, the day comes before the wine is there even. And the Beis Hillel only has one reason for his opinion, so therefore Hachanami Tarti. So therefore we say over here as well that there are two reasons for this. Birchas hayayin tedira, or birchas hayayim ena tedira. So we add over here a second reason that the bracha on the day is more constant, the bracha on the wine that is more constant, and the bracha on the day is not constant. And tadir v'sheina tadir kaidum. Whatever is more constant comes first. Frag the Gemara v'halacha kedivrei Beis Hillel. It said over here in the Braisa that we paskin like Beis Hillel. What's the chiddush in this? Pshita, obviously. The hanafke baskel. There's a whole story where the Gemara says that there's a baskel that came out and said that we always paskin like Beis Hillel against Beis Shammai. We had already before in the Gemara, Beis Shammai b'makim Beis Hillel ain't a Mishnah. So why does it have to say here again that we paskin like Beis Hillel? So the Gemara gives two answers. One answer is kaidim baskoil, that this is before the baskoil came out. This Braisa was written before the baskoil. It's even after the baskoil. But Rav Yeshua this Braisa goes according to Rabbi Yeshua, the Oma, and Rabbi Yeshua said, Ein mashgichim bebaskoil. You don't follow any baskoil. Even after the baskoil, you can still paskin like Beis Shammai, and therefore the Braisa has to clarify that the halacha is like Beis Hillel.